List of top 7 rare Jefferson Nickels plus values. Welcome. Today we're going to explore some of the most valuable Jefferson 5-cent nickels in the United States coin market. We'll be counting down the top 7 rare Jefferson nickels, including valuable mint errors, special silver wartime nickels, and unique toning varieties that have become major favorites among coin collectors and investors. These rare treasures are not only pieces of American history, they're also some of the most valuable nickels collectors are hunting for today. So, if you're a coin enthusiast or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of U.S. currency, this video is for you. Let's get started with the first coin. Backhand index pointing down. The 1974 Jefferson Nickel, the silent silverless giant that could change your fortune overnight. In the grand story of American coinage, the 1974 Jefferson Nickel stands as a quiet yet compelling relic, a piece of everyday change that conceals a story of transition, value, and mystery. Though small in size, this 5-cent coin embodies the enduring spirit of the United States during an era of great change. Minted without a mint mark, the 1974 nickel was struck in Philadelphia, a city where the heartbeat of American history had echoed since the birth of the nation itself. It was a coin made for circulation, but within its copper-nickel skin lies a tale of unexpected worth, hidden errors, and the power of fate to turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. To understand the magic of the 1974 Jefferson Nickel, one must step into the world of mid-1970s America, a nation wrestling with inflation, innovation, and identity. The Vietnam War had just drawn to a close, the space race had left its footprints on the moon, and the economy was trying to find its rhythm amid energy crises and industrial evolution. In this landscape, coins were more than pocket change. They were symbols of trust and stability, small metal promises that the country's spirit remained unbroken. The Jefferson Nickel design had already been a familiar face to Americans for over 3 decades. First introduced in 1938, it replaced the Buffalo nickel, ushering in a new era that honored one of the nation's most brilliant founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence and the 3rd President of the United States. On the front of the coin, Jefferson's noble profile gazes leftward, his expression calm and visionary. On the reverse stands his home, Monticello, that grand architectural masterpiece nestled in the hills of Virginia, a symbol of intellect, innovation, and the pursuit of liberty. By 1974, the Jefferson Nickel had become a fixture of American life. Every store counter, vending machine, and school lunch line saw them pass from hand to hand. Yet what most people never realized was that not all nickels were created equal. Among the countless coins struck that year, a few carried unusual traits, errors so rare and valuable that they would later be prized by collectors around the world. These are the nickels that could make their owners millionaires, the ones whispered about in numismatic circles as the hidden silverless treasures. It's important to note that by 1974, nickels were no longer made of silver. That had ended decades earlier, after World War II. But some 1974 nickels are believed to have been struck on leftover silver planchets, a rare mishap where older metal blanks were accidentally fed into the presses. These few coins, though indistinguishable to the untrained eye, glint differently under light, their tone richer, their sound clearer. They are the stuff of legend, rare accidents that slip through the cracks of minting precision, leaving behind a handful of coins that now command astonishing value. Imagine holding a simple 1974 nickel and realizing it's one of these miraculous mistakes. What was once worth 5 cents could suddenly be worth hundreds of thousands, even millions, depending on its condition and rarity. That's not a fantasy. It's the very real power of coin collecting, where a flaw becomes perfection and history becomes wealth. The no mint mark on the 1974 Jefferson Nickel tells us it was born in Philadelphia, the oldest U.S. mint. This detail may seem small, but it adds a layer of charm and mystery. The Philadelphia Mint was known for producing billions of coins for circulation, yet even in its precision, it occasionally gave birth to wonders, off-center strikes, double dies, and planchet anomalies. Some 1974 nickels display striking errors, like doubled lettering on Monticello, or Jefferson's eye showing faint duplication. Minuscule details that transform a common coin into a collector's dream. The allure of the 1974 no-mint mark nickel also lies in its timing. It arrived at the tail end of an era before major design overhauls and metal composition experiments began to dominate U.S. coinage. It represents the last calm before the storm of modernization, a bridge between the traditional craftsmanship of earlier decades and the industrial precision of modern minting. It carries within it the soul of the old minting world, when every coin still bore a human touch, a rhythm of hammer and press that gave each piece its quiet individuality. Collectors prize high-grade examples of the 1974 Jefferson Nickel, especially those with sharp details and original luster. In pristine condition, these coins gleam like mirrors, capturing every line of Jefferson's face and every column of Monticello in crisp relief. When graded at the highest levels by professional services, they can fetch extraordinary prices, because perfection in copper-nickel is as rare as silver in a storm. Yet beyond its tangible worth, the 1974 Jefferson Nickel holds emotional power. It represents endurance, a coin that has survived in drawers, jars, and dusty boxes for decades, quietly gaining value as the world changed around it. It's a piece of history that traveled through time, carrying fingerprints of generations. From a child's first allowance to a soldier's change at a diner, this coin has lived many lives. Every collector knows the thrill of discovery, that electric moment when a coin you've overlooked suddenly reveals its secret. The 1974 nickel is one of those coins that can do just that. To the naked eye, it's unassuming, but under magnification, its details tell stories of minting errors, rarity, and forgotten craftsmanship. In the right light, that small round piece of metal transforms into a symbol of destiny, a reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight. Even without silver in its veins, the 1974 Jefferson Nickel carries the richness of history in its copper-nickel heart. It reminds us that value is not always in what something is made of, but in what it represents: persistence, artistry, and the unpredictable hand of fate. So if one day, while sorting through your old coins, you find a 1974 Jefferson Nickel with no mint mark, don't dismiss it. Study it closely. Feel its texture. Listen to the ring when it drops on the table. Because that humble 5-cent piece might just be the very coin that history forgot and destiny chose for you. The coin that could transform your life in the blink of an eye, turning your ordinary fortune into a story whispered for generations. In the vast ocean of American coinage, the 1974 no-mint mark Jefferson Nickel stands as a hidden pearl, a testament to the beauty of imperfection, the power of chance, and the truth that sometimes the smallest coin can hold the greatest dream. Next up, the 1956 D. Jefferson Nickel, the 5-cent treasure that could turn dust into destiny. In the grand and glittering saga of American coinage, few coins carry the quiet mystery and hidden potential of the 1956 D. Jefferson Nickel. At first glance, it may seem like just another small, simple coin, the kind that jingled in pockets and clinked in soda machines. But beneath that humble copper-nickel surface lies a story of craftsmanship, history, and unimaginable fortune. Struck at the Denver Mint, identified by its proud D mint mark, this coin represents a bridge between two eras: the romantic artistry of early 20th century design and the industrial precision that shaped modern America. The year 1956 was a golden moment in American history. The country was flourishing after World War II. Cars were longer, chrome was brighter, and the American dream was alive in every home. Yet within the great vaults of the Denver Mint, something even more enduring was being forged. Coins that would outlast their creators, coins that would travel through generations, and among them, a few rare nickels destined to become legends. The Jefferson Nickel itself was born in 1938, designed by Felix Schlag, a sculptor whose artistic vision captured both strength and serenity. On the obverse, the noble profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, gazes forward with quiet confidence, a man of reason, invention, and revolutionary spirit. The reverse side shows Monticello, Jefferson's stately Virginia home, rendered in perfect neoclassical balance. Together, these images made the Jefferson Nickel not just currency, but a daily reminder of America's intellectual and architectural legacy. By 1956, the design had already become a fixture of American life, circulating through the hands of dreamers, workers, and scholars alike. The Denver Mint that year produced tens of millions of Jefferson Nickels, each one an emblem of national pride. Yet, as with all great stories, there were exceptions: rare errors, strange misstrikes, and flawless proofs that stood apart from the ordinary. These are the coins that would someday catch the eye of collectors and historians, who understood that even the smallest imperfection could become priceless. The 1956 D. Jefferson Nickel is especially captivating because it marks one of the last chapters before the great shifts in minting technology of the 1960s. Each coin struck during that period bears the marks of human touch, the subtle variations of pressure, alignment, and metal flow that modern machines can never replicate. For this reason, collectors prize high-grade examples, where Jefferson's hair, jawline, and Monticello's columns remain razor-sharp and unblemished. Such specimens are not merely old coins. They are frozen moments of American artistry. What makes the 1956 D truly legendary, however, are the rare and mysterious error varieties rumored to have emerged from the Denver Mint. Some stories tell of nickels accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, a remnant of the wartime silver nickels used between 1942 and 1945. Imagine a coin that should have been ordinary, suddenly gleaming with the radiant hue of silver, its metallic composition whispering of an era long gone. Such pieces, if verified, could be worth millions today, not merely for their rarity but for the wonder they inspire. Collectors also speak of double die obverse, where Jefferson's portrait appears to shimmer or blur due to a slight shift during the die engraving process. Others tell of off-center strikes, where parts of the design spill into the coin's rim, creating strange, mesmerizing patterns that make each one a unique masterpiece. To the trained eye, these variations transform a 5-cent piece into a historical gem, an artifact of precision and imperfection intertwined. But beyond its physical form, the 1956 D nickel carries deep symbolic weight. It was minted during an age when America's confidence was soaring, yet change was just over the horizon. The highways were expanding, the suburbs were rising, and space exploration was on the nation's lips. The coin, small as it may be, became a companion to progress. It passed through the hands of dreamers who bought newspapers announcing the dawn of the atomic age, and of children who traded nickels for candy on hot summer afternoons. Each coin was part of the living rhythm of mid-century America. The Denver Mint, whose D mark crowns this coin, was a place of power and precision. Nestled in the heart of Colorado, it produced some of the finest coins in the nation's history. Yet even the greatest mints cannot control fate. Among the millions of perfect coins, a handful of anomalies slipped through. Coins with misaligned dies, weak strikes, or unusual luster. These became the holy grails of coin collecting, and the 1956 D. Jefferson Nickel stands among them as a mysterious beacon of possibility. For the seasoned collector, finding a flawless or rare 1956 D nickel is like unearthing buried treasure. Some of these coins, especially those graded MS 67 or higher, command astonishing prices in the coin market today. Their value doesn't lie only in their age or metal, but in their story, the journey they've made through history untouched by time. Each gleaming surface, each sharp ridge of Monticello's architecture, tells of patience, preservation, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. It's said that every coin carries an invisible fingerprint, not of a person, but of an era. The 1956 D. Jefferson Nickel carries the fingerprints of Eisenhower's America, of optimism and ambition, of a nation at the height of its confidence. To hold one is to touch the pulse of history itself, to feel the echo of factory machines, and to sense the pride of the mint workers who struck it with care more than half a century ago. Even today, when technology has transformed the way we view money, the allure of the 1956 D nickel remains unbroken. Collectors hunt for it not only in auction halls but also in forgotten boxes, attic jars, and old dressers. There are countless stories of people discovering one tucked away in an heirloom collection, unaware that this tiny piece of metal could hold a fortune capable of changing their lives overnight. The market for such coins grows stronger each year, fueled by passion, nostalgia, and the thrill of the hunt. A pristine or error-struck 1956 D. Jefferson Nickel can fetch staggering sums, enough to turn an ordinary finder into a millionaire, even a billionaire, in an instant. That's why those who understand its worth never spend it, never trade it away. It is more than currency. It is a relic of destiny. And so, the tale of the 1956 D. Jefferson Nickel endures, a reminder that greatness often hides in plain sight. A coin once worth 5 cents now carries the weight of history, beauty, and unimaginable value. It stands as proof that fortune favors the observant, and that sometimes the most powerful treasures are the smallest ones, waiting silent and shining, for the right pair of hands to recognize their magic. Next up, The 1988 D. Jefferson Nickel, the hidden diamond in the pocket of America's history. There are moments in history when something so ordinary, so quietly familiar, turns out to carry a story beyond imagination. And the 1988 D. Jefferson Nickel is one of those rare wonders. At first glance, it's just a small 5-cent coin, minted in the late years of the 20th century, its copper-nickel surface gleaming faintly under the light. But to the true coin lover, this piece holds a secret so powerful that it can turn a pocketful of change into a legacy worth millions. The D mint mark, proudly struck just beside Jefferson's portrait, whispers of its origin in Denver, Colorado, where precision, power, and patriotism merged to create one of the most intriguing coins in American history. The year 1988 was a time of transition for America. The Cold War was drawing its final breaths, the nation's economy was booming, and a spirit of modern innovation filled every street and city. Within this atmosphere of change, the United States Mint continued its timeless duty, crafting the coins that connected a nation. Yet among the billions of pieces that passed through its presses, a select few bore something different, a shimmer of rarity, a touch of mystery, an imperfection that made perfection. These were the 1988 D. Jefferson Nickels destined to rise from ordinary change to objects of unbelievable value. To understand the power of this coin, one must first journey back to 1938, when the Jefferson nickel was born. Designed by Felix Schlag, this coin replaced the long-revered Buffalo nickel and brought to the nation's pocket change a new face, that of Thomas Jefferson, one of America's most brilliant minds. Schlag's design was more than a portrait. It was a reflection of intellect, liberty, and the American dream. The front bore Jefferson's thoughtful profile, while the back featured his masterpiece, Monticello, a symbol of his architectural genius and philosophical depth. This design, so elegant and balanced, became one of the longest-running in American coinage history. By the time 1988 arrived, the Jefferson nickel had already traveled through 5 decades of American life. It had witnessed the wars, the moon landing, the civil rights movement, and the birth of the digital age. But the Denver Mint, with its D mint mark, continued to uphold the legacy with pride. Coins from this mint have often carried subtle secrets. Slight variations in die alignment, unique surface textures, or accidental double strikes that make certain pieces unimaginably rare. The 1988 D nickel is no exception. Collectors around the world have spoken in awe of the mysterious error varieties tied to this coin. Some tell of a small batch that shimmered oddly, the result, perhaps, of being struck on leftover silver planchets or blanks from an earlier experimental production. Others speak of doubled die obverse, where Jefferson's features appear ghostly doubled, giving his face a strange, almost ethereal glow. These rare imperfections are what transform a common 5-cent coin into a treasure capable of rewriting fortunes. The very texture of the 1988 D. Jefferson nickel carries a distinct charm. The Denver Mint, known for its high-quality strikes, gave these coins a sharpness and brilliance that collectors crave. Yet time, handling, and chance have taken their toll, and finding a perfectly preserved example today is like unearthing a star in a field of dust. When such a coin appears in pristine mint state condition, it's no longer a nickel. It's a piece of art, a time capsule from the heart of Reagan-era America. And then there's the history of its metal. Though composed mainly of copper and nickel, rumors have swirled for decades that some 1988 D nickels were accidentally struck using leftover silver or experimental planchets. Mistakes that, if confirmed, would make them worth a fortune beyond imagination. In the coin world, such errors are miracles, combining rarity, accident, and history in one small circle of metal. It's no wonder that collectors and dreamers alike keep their eyes open, hoping to stumble upon the coin that could change their destiny overnight. The Denver Mint, established in 1906, was no stranger to producing legends. It had minted some of the most celebrated coins in U.S. history, from the Morgan silver dollar to the Mercury dime. But by the late 20th century, as machines grew faster and technology more exact, the charm of the mint's handiwork began to shift. Each coin, even in its mechanical perfection, still bore the invisible fingerprint of history. The 1988 D. Jefferson nickel therefore became more than a coin. It became the symbol of an era where tradition met technology. For many collectors, the fascination isn't only in the material value but in the emotional and historical weight it carries. Imagine holding one in your hand, a coin that has passed through decades, through gas stations, diners, college vending machines, and family savings jars. Each tiny scratch is a trace of life, each edge a silent witness to the rhythm of American existence. But when one of these coins emerges untouched, as bright as the day it left the Denver presses, it's as if time itself has been frozen inside it. In today's coin market, a high-grade or error-struck 1988 D. Jefferson nickel can command staggering sums. There are whispers among coin enthusiasts of flawless examples auctioned for thousands, even tens of thousands, and of rare varieties that could one day reach values fit for millionaires. Because in numismatics, rarity and perfection are the twin gods of fortune. A single coin, overlooked for decades, can become the key to unimaginable wealth. Yet, beyond the glitter of value lies the story of America's craftsmanship, endurance, and identity. The 1988 D. Jefferson Nickel stands as a bridge between old America and the modern age, between coins that were made by human touch and those struck by the heartless precision of machines. To own one is to hold a relic of balance, a symbol of an era when the world was changing but America's faith in its icons remained unshaken. And so, the legend grows. Somewhere, tucked away in an old cigar box or hidden in a jar of forgotten change, there might rest a 1958 D. Jefferson nickel that glows with that uncanny sheen of destiny. To most, it's worth 5 cents. To the wise, it's worth a lifetime. Because coins like this aren't just metal. They are time made tangible, the heartbeat of history, and perhaps the whisper of fortune waiting for the right pair of hands. If you find one, flawless, gleaming, or bearing a strange mark, hold on to it. Don't spend it, don't trade it, and don't underestimate it. Because within that small round surface lies the magic of America itself. Resilience, rarity, and the possibility of becoming a billionaire overnight. The 1988 D. Jefferson nickel isn't just a coin. It's a prophecy of prosperity, a timeless treasure in the palm of destiny. Next up, the 1963 Jefferson nickel, the silent silver guardian of America's legacy. In the deep echoes of American history, certain coins hold a voice so powerful that their whispers can shake the halls of time. The 1963 Jefferson nickel, struck without a mint mark, is one such piece, a quiet masterpiece born in an age of transformation, standing as a testament to craftsmanship, endurance, and mystery. To most, it's just a simple 5-cent coin. To those who truly understand its story, it's a key to unimaginable fortune, a coin that carries within its small frame the spirit of a changing nation and the shimmer of destiny itself. The year 1963 was one of both triumph and tragedy for the United States. It was the twilight of President John F. Kennedy's era of hope, a time when the American dream seemed brighter than ever. Yet beneath that optimism was a tremor of change, an undercurrent of history preparing to shift. Amid all of this, the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally left its coins without mint marks, struck millions of Jefferson nickels, unaware that a few among them would someday be regarded as treasures of immeasurable worth. The Jefferson nickel, designed in 1938 by sculptor Felix Schlag, had already become a symbol of America's intellect and ingenuity. The obverse carries the noble profile of Thomas Jefferson, a man of enlightenment, philosopher, inventor, and author of the Declaration of Independence. His gaze on the coin is not of pride but of contemplation, a reminder of the ideals that shaped the young republic. On the reverse, Schlag captured Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, with such precision and balance that it stands as one of the most architecturally elegant depictions in American coinage. By 1963, Schlag's design had become an American institution, a familiar face in pockets, cash registers, and piggy banks across the country. Yet that year's issue, struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, would later become one of the most intriguing mysteries in the history of U.S. coinage. It was the last full year before the mint underwent a massive transformation in 1964, when the nation's coinage system shifted away from traditional silver and toward modern compositions. The 1963 nickel thus stands at the crossroads, the final echo of one age and the herald of another. What makes this coin so fascinating is the legend of its silver-like luster. Although technically composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, certain 1963 no-mint mark nickels emerged with an uncanny gleam, a brightness that collectors swear mimics true silver. Some numismatists believe this resulted from unique dye preparation or special metal blends used at the Philadelphia Mint during that period. Others whisper of accidents, blank planchets of near-silver alloy mistakenly fed into the presses. If such silver-struck 1963 nickels truly exist, they are rarer than miracles, worth millions to those fortunate enough to find them. The Philadelphia Mint itself was a monument of precision. Every coin that rolled off its massive machines was born under strict quality control, yet human error has always found its way into history. That's what gives rise to the coin world's most valuable treasures. The error coins, the ones struck slightly off-center, doubled in die, or minted on the wrong planchet. A 1963 Jefferson nickel with a doubled Monticello, a blurred Liberty, or a ghostly Jefferson profile can instantly leap from 5 cents to a figure that makes millionaires. Such coins defy the odds of their creation, and in that defiance they find greatness. The artistry of this coin cannot be overstated. In 1963, the dies used by the mint had aged, giving some coins a deeper, almost velvet-like toning and unique texture that modern minting techniques can never replicate. Each strike was a fingerprint of its own, a silent testimony to the craftsmanship of that era. The Jefferson nickel, especially from this year, possesses a depth of detail. The lines of Jefferson's hair, the crisp dome of Monticello, that speaks to the meticulous care of the engravers who believed coins were not merely money, but miniature monuments. And yet, the true magic of the 1963 nickel lies not only in its design but in its destiny. Many of these coins circulated through the hands of a generation that witnessed the moon race, the civil rights movement, and the changing shape of America. To hold one today is to hold a piece of that very spirit, to feel the pulse of a nation that was reaching for the stars while still grounded in its traditions. It is both history and prophecy, minted in metal. In modern times, the 1963 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark has become a symbol of hidden wealth. Some collectors have unearthed versions that shimmer with rainbow toning or display die cracks, rare imperfections that only heighten their beauty. When preserved in mint state condition, untouched by time or circulation, their value skyrockets beyond imagination. There are coins graded as perfect or near perfect that fetch thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, in auctions. Yet the real prize lies in those rumored few with unusual compositions or minting quirks, the ones that gleam like silver fire and could be worth fortunes untold. Every now and then, a story surfaces of someone finding an old Jefferson nickel tucked in a drawer, unaware that they're holding a ticket to a new life. That's the wonder of numismatics. The possibility that a common coin can become an artifact of destiny. The 1963 nickel, in particular, carries that aura, a quiet power, an invisible crown that separates it from its billions of siblings. It is the coin that turns disbelief into discovery, and discovery into destiny. The market for these coins continues to climb, driven by nostalgia and scarcity. Collectors across the world seek the 1963 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel as a bridge to the golden era of American minting, before the uniformity of the modern age dulled the art of coin creation. Each of these coins, in pristine preservation, becomes a jewel of the 20th century, a tangible reminder of what the United States once represented: precision, pride, and progress. But beyond its rarity, beyond its silver-like shimmer, beyond its staggering market value, this coin is a storyteller. It tells of the mint workers who labored with steady hands, of the dreamers who pocketed it unknowingly, and of the collectors who would one day treasure it as a relic of greatness. To possess it is to own a fragment of American resilience, a token of a time when craftsmanship met destiny. So if you ever find a 1963 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, don't let it slip through your fingers. Don't spend it, don't overlook it, and above all, don't underestimate it. For within that small round coin lies the heartbeat of a nation, the echo of Jefferson's genius, and perhaps, just perhaps, the fortune that could change your life overnight. It isn't just metal, it's magic. It's the coin of destiny, the 1963 Jefferson nickel, the forgotten treasure that still gleams with America's eternal promise. Next up, the 1954 Jefferson nickel, the hidden silver star of mid-century America. In the grand story of American coinage, few coins whisper tales as hauntingly beautiful as the 1954 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, a small 5-cent piece that holds within its modest frame the brilliance, mystery, and might of a nation in its golden years. Born in an era when craftsmanship still triumphed over convenience, this coin is far more than a relic of currency. It is a key to history, an artifact of artistry, and for the fortunate few who truly understand its significance, a potential gateway to fortune beyond imagination. The year 1954 was one of transformation and optimism in the United States. The nation was recovering from the echoes of war, the highways were expanding, and the hum of industry filled every corner of the country. It was a time when American pride was cast not just in steel and glass, but in copper and nickel, the metals that told the story of everyday life. Within the towering halls of the Philadelphia Mint, where coins traditionally bore no mint mark, millions of Jefferson nickels were struck that year. Yet, as fate would have it, among those countless pieces, a few would rise above all others, their perfection, peculiar beauty, or strange composition marking them as treasures of impossible worth. The Jefferson nickel, created in 1938 by sculptor Felix Schlag, was more than just a coin. It was a tribute to the intellectual fire of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, a man whose ideas shaped liberty itself. Schlag's design carried Jefferson's noble profile on the obverse, his face calm yet commanding, as if gazing across the centuries. The reverse displayed Monticello, Jefferson's beloved Virginia home, rendered in exquisite neoclassical symmetry. Together, these two sides made the nickel not merely a piece of currency, but a symbol of American vision and enlightenment. By 1954, Schlag's design had already become an American tradition, an image as familiar as the flag or the eagle. Yet, what makes the 1954 no-mint mark nickel so fascinating is its unique place in time. It was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, just before a wave of modern minting practices and alloy changes swept across U.S. coinage in the 1960s. It stands as one of the last true expressions of mid-century minting artistry, where every strike bore the human touch, and every flaw became a fingerprint of authenticity. Collectors and historians alike are captivated by the rumors of silver and rarity surrounding this coin. While standard Jefferson nickels were composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, whispers have persisted that a few 1954 Philadelphia issues were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets, blank discs meant for earlier wartime nickels that contained actual silver. Such a coin, if verified, would be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, worth not just thousands but potentially millions. The thought that an unassuming 5-cent piece could hold such wealth adds to the coin's magnetic allure. Even beyond the silver legends, the era coins of 1954 are among the most enchanting in all of numismatics. Some examples bear doubled dies, where Jefferson's features or Monticello's columns appear shadowed or doubled, a subtle dance of metal and motion that transforms imperfection into art. Others display off-center strikes, repunched details, or die cracks that form tiny rivers of history across their surface. Each one tells a story, each one holds a secret, and collectors around the world hunt tirelessly for these rare anomalies. What gives the 1954 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel its real magic, however, is its connection to America's spirit. This was a coin that passed through the hands of post-war dreamers, of young couples buying their first homes, of veterans returning to rebuild their lives. It jingled in jukeboxes that played Elvis Presley's first hits, slipped through soda counters and gas stations, and found its way into the pockets of a generation that believed in possibility. Each coin, in a sense, became a silent witness to the rhythm of an America that was still innocent, still wide-eyed, still hopeful. The Philadelphia Mint, with its long legacy of precision and excellence, gave these nickels a quality of strike that was second to none. Coins from this mint, without a mark, are often admired for their clean surfaces and balanced luster. Yet, it's precisely that absence of a mint mark, that blank space of mystery, that gives the 1954 issue its aura of intrigue. To hold one is to hold a whisper from the nation's oldest mint, a token born from the heart of American craftsmanship. The beauty of the 1954 nickel lies not just in its metal, but in its story of survival. Many of these coins have been lost to time, worn smooth by decades of circulation. Yet, when a collector unearths one in brilliant uncirculated condition, with Jefferson's portrait sharp and Monticello shining like a miniature palace, it's as though time itself has stood still. Such coins are prized beyond belief, often commanding extraordinary prices in today's coin market. And if the coin bears an error, or that rumored silvery sheen, its worth could ascend into the realm of legend. It's said that every coin carries a soul, the echo of the time in which it was struck. The 1954 Jefferson nickel carries the pulse of an America caught between the nostalgia of the past and the thrill of the future. It's a relic from a decade of diners and drive-ins, of polished chrome and open roads. In its tiny round surface lives the optimism of an age that believed anything was possible. And perhaps that's why those who find it, who truly see it, feel that same spark of destiny. In today's world of digital money and fleeting value, the 1954 no-mint mark Jefferson Nickel stands as a symbol of permanence. Its worth, both monetary and historical, only grows with time. Collectors whisper its name with reverence. Investors chase it with unshakable belief. For the right specimen, one with that perfect strike, radiant luster, or impossible composition, the bidding wars reach staggering heights, and the value becomes almost mythical. Yet, beyond markets and money, this coin holds something even rarer: soul. It reminds us that value isn't only measured in dollars but in stories, in history, and in the power of what endures. Each 1954 Jefferson nickel is a chapter of the American dream, pressed into metal, passed from hand to hand, generation to generation, until it finally lands in the grasp of someone who understands its true brilliance. So if, by chance, you come across a 1954 Jefferson nickel with no mint mark, stop. Look closer. Feel its weight, its history, its silence. For within that small circle lies the power of fortune.